seen that team go away. But on this map, on the chamber, I think things could change.
Yeah, one of the things I really want to see a little more impact from is going to be Vac. I wasn't particularly impressed with Fade on this map last time out. I think that a lot of that was coming up against FPX, but it's one of those agents where I'm still not sure whether I actually enjoy it on this map over something like a Sova. Well, either way, we're going to have a very deep push coming all the way through from the defensive side. It seems like Redgar's aware. He's actually just watching for this instant headshot to Starzo. First one taken down. He's going to get both. It's the old Redgar back. The man was holding the spike all the way down the bottom of mid, just waiting in case anybody pushed that angle. And he may have already just closed out the pistol round. Pistols and Ascend just don't really seem to work out, as the desk has proven throughout their pre-show. And while it looks like it's going to be another one to almost ruin their statistics, nice shot, though, from Zeke. Maybe that can be a little bit of a difference maker. Still going to end up in a 2 versus 4. Chronicle has found another, and well, I mentioned Vac wanting to have a little bit more impact. Of course, he is doing his best monster impression right now. I'm sure the pictures are just a little bit muddled up, but I'm guessing that will get sorted. Nonetheless, you can see the mecha very well set up. And as said, like, a lot of the time when we watch this map, their defense was god tier. Like, literal, the best defense on this map we've ever seen. Their attack was always a bit shaky, so getting the pistol, that's a good start.
Oh, it's exactly what you want. And look at that Bulldog already in the hands of Nats. I mean, the weapons can be sold, but I'd love to see it. Anytime we see these kind of hard upgrades, I'm behind them. And with 3 kills on the board already, Redgar has a couple extra credits, and those are being invested right now into a Guardian. On a map like this, it makes perfect sense to take these extra ranged weapons into the battle. Chronicle has the Headhunter to play with as well, a full 8 bullets to work with in this round. So you can already see it's a huge problem for Ascend if they're forced into any ranged fights. They're at a disadvantage in pretty much every fight, but a huge disadvantage in 3 out of 5. So instead they stack up here, play super close range on a main, and they've got this cover from Vac, but he has to step in and try to stop these players from being able to catch the off angle on his teammates. He does get the backstab. Starzo finds another, and the damage already done. They'll look to extend it a little bit more. Remember, they invested into a Guardian, into a Bulldog, and now those have been dropped. They can be retrieved, of course, but the cost is already massive. An astronomical amount of damage done by Ascend in this one.
Defo with the chance to really farm up some orbs, though. Already getting himself 3 kills. Another one coming in for the plant. If he gets this final kill, he's only going to be 1 away, and he will. So it's a horrific round in terms of the damage, but that silver lining, well, you look at where the orbs are on this map, especially over towards the A site. If he doesn't get a Blade Storm at the beginning of this round, I'm going to be disappointed.
You know, look, with Mech having that safety net, it scares me because Defo's already started to show up. And if he gets into this map, if he gets a good swing into it, like I will say, every time I see this team, until the day comes that I see Scrim Defo come out and play at the at the online events, at the LAN events, even more so. I know Defo's capable of so much, and with a Blade Storm in his back pocket, this is a scary round. If he manages to get it, he's not even going for an orb, Tom. He's going into the site. He's looking for a kill right here and now. Chronicle's the one to get it, but still, it doesn't matter about a Blade Storm now. They've potentially got a plant to come through.
Yeah, Stars almost has to be careful that he's not just giving anything away here. They're being patient, though. And I'm liking this almost swarm mentality at the moment from Mech. Just playing off of each other, nobody really overextending or playing anything too aggressive. Chronicle's going to be able to get the spike down. They're trying to clear some of these deeper angles. They've managed to take quite a lot of space. And bear in mind, there's an afterplant being set up. This should not be space that they're able to garner. The problem is they don't know there's still a second player behind. And oh no! Oh, it's not pretty from Nats. He's not going to get the job done. Luckily, his teammates have stepped up to the plate. The more Mech, they're going to convert their bonus round, and well, you weren't happy with the how clean the last one was, Mitch. Are you feeling a little better now?
Yeah. This is it's certainly going to wipe the sweat from your brow if you're a Mech fan, seeing the possibilities unfold, and then this is what comes of it, a complete shutdown. Yeah, well, you know, we didn't need to see that bit again, but
no, we didn't.
you know, we have been singing his praises, so it makes sense. We highlight when a few shots don't go on target. 3-0 though, huge start for Mech. You said the pistol was a fantastic thing to see because they'd struggled on their attacks before. Well, there seems to be no struggle this time around. And as you see Ascend come into this round with Sheriffs and the Headhunter on CNED, there is again danger. Just not sure how great that danger is and whether it's going to actually pose any threat to Mech, because they seem to be making an easy time of it.
It's just tearing them a new one. Any piece of aggression that seems to come through is just almost instantly punished. And that's the thing with this composition for Mech, and that's the thing that makes this so difficult for for Ascend to play with, is it's a composition that revolves around aggression. Like you're basically almost using CNED to sort of push and probe and have that ability to teleport out. Starzo playing passive on Neon is, even just saying that out loud sounds ridiculous. You've got your initiators being what I would say is the more aggressive initiator. Like you don't have necessarily like your Sova lineups, for example, to find you that information. So in other words, you basically have to be playing further forward. Well, you're playing into, as we've sort of mentioned, one of the best defensive teams in the world. If they're able to play defense on both sides, that's GG.
Well, yeah. And to be honest with you, Tom, already with 4 rounds on the board, it seems hard to believe that this will even end up in an okay position for Ascend. I think they've got a bad half on the cards, unless something crazy happens. And that's almost best case scenario. Good shutdown by Monster, though. That's what they need. Some players to be stepping it up. And, well, he's doing exactly that. A second as he manages to shut down the push through double doors. And although he gets traded by the Hunter's Fury, that's the only kill that they've got. Mech have ran straight into a brick wall. And this is the first time we're seeing Ascend actually manage to put a stop to this team.
They're even going to shut it down with only losing that one player. So yeah, not bad at all. I don't necessarily mind the attempt from Mech there just to pick up the pace. Like it does seem. This is why, again, if I ever see like someone being very, very critical of someone like Defo, watch a game like this and realize what they are expecting him to do. Like it's throw a smoke, dash into it, and you are the only man on the site. Like that's to get out of that with anything at all is always going to be impressive. The thing is, though, they do well to almost deny that disruption. They kill him off quick enough that then the other players aren't able to sort of play off what he caused. And that's the most important thing with Mech. If you can shut him down quick enough, which is easier said than done, the game's going to be a lot easier for you.
Oh, that... You know, those players still fighting. There's 2 of them here. They're not worried about one Prowler. One of them can get hit by it, no problem, because the other can trade. But that's when CNED strikes, pulling it back into Ascend's favor. Doubling down on it is Starzo to put Chronicle alone. The tour de force, it rang out at the start of the round, but very little has been heard from it ever since. That Viper's Pit from Monster, you know, it didn't really do anything for them, but you don't care if you get the round win. That's what it's all about. Locking it down, securing it, and now even spotting Chronicle. Should be no problem. Wow.
Okay. Nice one to start. That is an op on the floor. That's something that they should be able to retrieve. But again, it's just about being careful you don't throw too many weapons away. They managed to win the last one with 4 players alive, so economy should be absolutely fine. But you have to bear in mind, Mech also have a lot of finances. So Chronicle, he's running around with basically nothing. Yeah, okay, he's retrieved a rifle, but I don't think this is going to be too much of a detriment. It would be far more important to them to just try and kill off some of these players. Interestingly as well, if he gets one more kill, he could actually get the spike and plant, which would be kind of madness.
Yeah, at that point, he would definitely be in a winnable position, so I can understand why everybody's being so cautious, so passive.
Left.
And that timer's going to run out. We'll see the save. Called out for Chronicle. Any extra damage you could get done here as they sneak on through. Ooh, some steps. Hello. Hello. Oh, it's a miss. It's a classic out, and he's not going to get him. Chronicle, in fact, going down at the last second. Wow, that's not quite the outcome I think he was hoping for.
No, as sort of mentioned, for their economy, it really doesn't matter too much. It was more just trying to do as much damage as possible. But the fact that CNED now actually gets to keep his operator, still have the tour de force in his back pocket for when he wants to utilize it later to almost save their economy, Ascend have done well to stabilize here, and a lot of these sort of fast-paced blitz plays now haven't worked. I do wonder if we're going to see Mech slow it down a little bit, and the fact they've bought an op, I think, sings true to that.
Yeah, they'll take that little bit of early space, but not afraid to play after. Okay, we got a drone coming through. Right away, covering up that space on the A side. They've spotted the door wide open. They know there's players up there now, at least one. Flash out sees nobody. Good idea from Ascend now that this push could be coming to the other side of the map. We're actually going to have the Nightmare put out towards B main, but this is a full split through mid. Starzo swinging around with the finger guns. Good for a double. And back on the back side, they know he's here. They heard the ultimate moments ago. They saw it where it came from, and they're going to clear him out now. At least they'll try to. The first kill is his. The second is as well. And now the spike on the floor right in front of him. That's the last man alive, and they're clearing him. They're checking him, and they're taking him down. A dominant round from Ascend, and a much better face than what we saw starting out this map.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has been down to Vac. I think he's been doing incredibly well just staying alive at the back of the sites, getting information for the team, but more importantly, just having impact kills. I think that's something that, again, I think went a little bit of a miss the last time out when they played. Starzo as well, of course, is always going to be a highlight, but I don't know how reliable it's going to be to get 2 kills with an overdrive.
Say Starzo seems to get a lot. CNET, I like this aggression. Still got the TP to go back on and burns up a bunch of their utility early for practically no info. CNET was playing aggressive on A early. All right. Couldn't guess that one. Flash through. Here we go. Zeke! He's in the fight, and the flash actually makes it so he can see them. He's just close enough, and now able to take another is Monster. The kills in Ascend's favor yet again. This was looking like a little bit of a shaky one on that fight inside it too, but my God, they doubled down and got the rewards.
I don't know how to concede anything there, but he gets away with 2 kills, and that's just huge for the squad. And now the fallback once again, the slowdown, but just look at the aggressive positioning. You've got deep tube control ready. You've got deep control over short as well towards that B site, just allowing Starzo to almost peek him from different angles, and then you just have the watch over of Monster to make sure nobody can make it into this A site. The fact is Starzo, all he needs is 1 kill here, and he's got the info. He can almost just opt to try and delay, unless there's going to be something lurking back through. And that's the one interesting thing, is that Shados, I wouldn't mind him playing into the A site if there was any way his teammate was getting back in that direction.
Spike planted.
Oh, that spike planted, secured. They're not clearing it on the corner. Shados, though, he has to run. He's got a sprint knife out. It's planted for him. At least the wall goes down for now. Just to buy him that little bit of time, get it refreshed. Monster about to pop it back up, but look at the rotation all the way around. Shados is gone, but now Monster's heard him. He hears the steps. The flash is through. It's popping, and he knows that will pull him off the spike. The reload, the steps heard close now. The fight's awkward. He was reloading at the start, but that did not stop him. The round goes to Mech in the end. It's a close one, and a lot of these have been. But Mech keep on building those attack rounds, and this is what I was talking about earlier, Tom, where I'm saying, like, it feels like best case scenario is a bad half for Ascend, because even though they can have all these clean rounds, every now and then it seems undeniable that Mech would pick up 1 or 2 more along the way.
But the thing is as well, and I think something that we sort of spoke about at the time, was in some of the matches where things were going really bad for Mech, it not only was like the structure in some of the rounds and trading not great, but just those multi-frags were missing. Like I think we spoke about it. There was a game where Shados, his only multi-frag was 1-2K. He's had way more impact than that in just the first map alone and these last few rounds.
There goes the flash. His defo is already taken down. The stuns come through. Heavy commitment. They try to deal with these players inside of halls. Chronicle only able for the 1 before going down. Shados is stuck in a snake bite, but they thought it was clear. They thought they pushed all the players out of tube. Still, though, only the 1 kill to be found. And as the spike at least goes down, it's outside of this pit. Nats is being cleared. He's going to try to step by, but he got spotted. Very nicely cleared. Well handled. I think Ascend did everything right there, Tom. At no point were they taking duels where they couldn't trade, and you saw that. A kill for Mech was always immediately responded on by Ascend.
Yeah, a very well played out round. And as you sort of mentioned, they didn't overcommit to anything. I think that's one of the things that Ascend can definitely be a victim of, or fall victim to sometimes, is just, okay, I've got this kill, I now need to win us the round. It's like, in a lot of cases, that's not really the truth. Still, though, like as I mentioned, a lot of teams really struggle facing off against Mech when they go into their defense. 5 rounds in most cases has been more than enough. So, as you mentioned, I think this is already going to be a bad half. The question is how bad. Luckily, in terms of the finances, things are in the absolute bin, and I don't even just mean in terms of the money itself. Like ultimates, there's only one even close, and it's Seekers.
Seek them out.
Seeker's gone out, and they've caught Defo up close at least. As they start to sneak up on them, Defo's gone down, flash over. The others caught behind the walls. The stuns will keep them way, way back. I think the Seekers did the same to start with. And now they pump the brakes. They've lost Defo. They've gained nothing for their troubles.
Novak. Slightly nasty spot. Still looking like a bit of a monster, but, you know, I'm sure, I'm sure that would change eventually. And he's actually going to go down. Maybe a bit of a problem here. Look at the isolation. Monster is now going to be the only player left within this site to defend it. He's done excellent, though. Just those snake bites alone are going to buy time for the rotation to come through, and there is CNED.
Gorgeous. Monster able to tap away, taking a double. Obviously, dies there for the ult orb. Don't worry about it. But no, all things considered, this late in the game as well, this is an all right round. It's pretty much what you want to see. 5-5. You're coming into it. Couple ults online. Very impactful ones as well on the side of Ascend. And I don't even think you're gonna need them necessarily. CNED's playing the op. You could potentially double op either this round or the next if this one goes well. That you'd want to, because there'll be mixed bot, specters and such that you're up against. But I do want to see Ascend walk out with both of these. And they've got the ultis to do it. They've got the economy to do it. Mech are on the rocks. Lose this. Their economy's weak for a final round. 7 is definitely possible at this point.
Oh, I thought CNED was going to go pushing. Instead, it's actually the Seekers very early popped. This is a much faster paced round once again. And they've already been pinged up, so it's not going to be anywhere near as much of a surprise. And even going to utilize that Tiger to stun up Defo. He does get out of position and even dodges the flash. I don't know if they'll expect him to be this far forward. They won't.
It's a big kill. That's going to force some mistakes because, look, Ascend try to make up for that. They try to push up. And as they go through B, they get shot in the back. Shados was waiting inside of the elbow. Now they've got mid control. They've got control towards spawn and halls. They've killed the B push. Now you know that nobody's behind it. And okay, they've lost Redgar on double doors. So it's a little bit of a blow to be dealt, but it's Starzo with a huge impact. B side denied. He's locking it down, but it looks like Mech aren't happy with that outcome. They still want to take it towards his site. They're going to try to send 2 through the spawn, 1 through B main. I don't know about this with Starzo still up and there to play with.
30 seconds
Makes
left.
sense to try use this Viper Wall post plant, but they've got to root him out first.
Oh, getting aggressive works out just to give them the 1. But now Chronica can actually dip back in to try and take control of the spawn. In fact, the plant's not really going to be for him at all, but it might give him the opportunity to isolate a Jewel, or more importantly, catch them as they go crossing back into the site. Because right now, he knows that nobody's coming from that direction, can keep having a little gander in that direction. But ultimately, the longer this goes, the more likely he is going to cause them troubles.
Player standing.
Oh, Chronicle down already. Now Nats has to do it from this back corner. Swall still has quite a bit of fuel on it. I think they're going to have to push through it. A little bit of an advantage in that fight. He hasn't checked the right corner, though. So many angles to clear, and Monster gets the right timing, slips through, and wins this round for Ascend. 6 on the board. And the possibility for 7. It's there, Tom. It really and truly is. I think Mech, you know, they got a bunch of kills. Their economy, yeah, it's shaky. They can scrape a buy, but it's light shields all around. No ults, very easy to get online in this one. We could be looking at a 7-5 half. That said, that's still decent for Mech. You know, I'm looking at their defensive side with a lot of promise.
Yeah, even still though, I think that you have to bear in mind, I feel like Ascend's composition is going to run really nicely going into the attack. So I don't think by any stretch, if this ends as a 7-5 to Ascend, that this map is done for Mech, because I don't think many teams will have played against such a fast-paced composition. Speaking of fast-paced, guess who's in the site again?
Right in and right down. Defo taken out. Let's see if they follow up on that space. Monster's still able for a double. His holds have been fantastic. Even outnumbered. Able to put up those numbers. Still, Mech are holding on. 2v3. Have to deal with CNET up top, and that's Shados' job. He's been spotted, though, and CNET is quick to deal with him.
That's a mini jump scare.
Spike planted.
Oh, CNET's going to close out the half as well. Definitely having a little bit of a resurgence in towards the end, but again, I don't think it's necessarily just been on him. I think that, like, as you mentioned, Monster's had a fantastic half. I think Vac has done incredibly well, and although I don't necessarily think that all of the information play has been perfect
Level, but once you bring him to VCT, it's a completely different ball game. But this new face of Ascend, I'm a big fan of it. And I thought Vac would be my favorite addition because, God, Tom, we've been begging for a good team for Vac for so long. We got double headhunter trades right off the bat.
Oh, that's not easy to do with how fast Starzo was moving, but hey, I don't think they're going to mind too much. With Defo going down on the other side, it also leaves Nats somewhat isolated within the site. Now, bear in mind, Shados does have a relatively fast rotation, and they're actually going to go pushing past the Snakebite. The thing is, he's been tagged up, but Shados is still here, giving them the advantage for now, but Nats is so desperately low. Shados, though, just finding one through the screen, and well, they need CNED to clutch out a ridiculous round just to give them a chance to take a pistol away.
And somehow it's possible, Tom. I start to believe until a 20 HP Nats catches that quick shot. A pistol round for Mech at a 7-5 half already and starting out their defense. This is a little bit spooky for Ascend to give away that pistol, but look, they have that lead to at least give them that safety net to play with, to fall onto. They can lose the first round. They can lose this one, write it off. CNED maybe buy a couple headhunter bullets in this one. Light shields and see what damage he can inflict. And again, depending on these investments, you can see a ton of potential value. Mech, there we go. Okay, they are going to come in. Guardian and Bulldog. So kills are very important for Ascend here. If they can manage to stop them saving one of those rifles, that would be fantastic for their economy.
It's also quite interesting that one of them's actually an onto Chronicle. Especially with the Headhunter available, you might expect him to go for something a little different, but clearly feeling more confident in his own ability with the Bulldog. Defo, though, same fate as last round. Back-to-back, CNED's caught him, and well, that's already one player down.
1 out of 4 headhunter bullets used already, and it's found a victim. Like you said, player down means one less player to carry a weapon through to the next round. Now, with it being Defo, it's okay losing one player in a round like this. You want your Jet to be the one, grabbing that death orb, I guess. All good. It is what it is. Really, you want your Jet to be the one farming up kills, then catching the death orb, but can't always get it the way you want it. CNED's repositioned. Looking for a B main pick this time around. It is Redguard that they're challenging, though, so Guardian on the other side of it. He's tagging them up, trying to go for wall bangs, but they're not going to fall for that. Shock darts through, has support. Teammates coming on in to help him. Now, both these rifles on the back side, they cannot lose these fights, and they will not.
He's not getting anything. Chronicle's just farmed up his tour de force, and that's a terrifying prospect for the next round. Basically, his free operator role, unfortunately, now the valuable headhunter bullets are all but gone. Chronicle gonna eco-frag, as you mentioned, and well, you said that Defo would be the ideal candidate to farm up some orbs. I can think of one other guy that will definitely benefit.
On a map like Breeze, yeah, I think you're going to be pretty happy with Chronicle. And the thing is, this is now a power-up round for both teams. Ascend power up because they get their rifles, they get their shields. For the most part, Starzone back ain't looking too healthy on that front, and on Starzone, no shields on the way through, or light shields. But on Mech's side, they get to have their Guardian and their Bulldog, which we already mentioned. Now a tour de force to play with as well on Chronicle, who's having a brilliant game so far. An early aggression into A main.
God.
This is an aggressive push. They're going to use the numbers to their advantage, and the light shielded Starzo is the one to shut it down.
Yeah, he gets dinked up, a little bit lucky to still be alive, but They'll take it. They still haven't been able to clear Shados just yet. He's got to be careful, though, as they manage to pincer back in. And now we look towards that tour de force. Chronicle, last man standing, 1v3.
Yeah, the 140 dink connected on the Starzo, about to be healed up too. He's coming back to 100 health. Zeke making sure of that. The tour de force, though, doesn't care what health you're on. It'll take you one bullet to drop an enemy, but Chronicle's got 3 to take down. The right corner, not yet cleared. He will spot him on the way. A little bit too much to ask, though. 8-7. Send, pick up this round here. But it ain't all plain sailing. You know, for Mech, definitely underwhelming considering the weaponry they brought through. But that was just to give them a chance at winning that round. It hasn't worked out, and now they're going to buy conventionally and come back in for what would be a normal buyback.
Still, it's not been the prettiest of buys. Like, you're still gonna have a Bulldog. Okay, it's onto Nats, and I feel like there's only a couple of players anywhere near his level with that gun.
Let's play.
Even still, though, again, just look at the sheer pace. Starzo. Oh, it's so sick! They have the combo in line with the Haunt to find that information, and Chronicle's at least gonna get the trade, keeping things even with Shados. I love that combination, though. It's what they were attempting to do before, and that's just a tiny gap left in that poison orb is enough to get him a kill.
That's all he needs. Ascend now on the back foot as they attempt to creep their way back into middle to pick up that spike. It's going to be Zeke that has to get the backstab around and open up mid, and he will. Oh God, no one's watching it at all. What a huge mistake, but Redgar turns on a dime to close it. Monster now alone. No idea where Shados has gone, where he could be. Even every angle has its danger, but he doesn't suspect that the spawn is in fact where he's coming from. They're walking right past each other. It looks like he might get the A site completely for free.
It might actually work out better, though, for Mech, because the fact is they're going to want to try and play this one together, and an isolated duel might have been exactly what Monster needed. There's still a possibility of it, though. Shados, he's checking the angles. Now, the screen is probably going to give away everything they could possibly need, but as of yet, they're still not sure. It's definitely not the B site, and well, now that rotation will finally come through.
An interesting wall to work with here. Obviously, you're playing up against the sky. Oh, well, that is very unfortunate. I mean, look, being spotted, they don't know where he is, even still. The recon going to serve to try and grab that, but these initiators yet to initiate combat. It's going to be on Monster's terms that they take this fight as he dances around the pyramids, just trying to delay time and turn the clock into his friend. Now, though, is the time to strike, and he'll only get the one. Shados. Enough time to defuse that one comfortably, I think, and Mech will equalize.
Yeah, a lot of sort of unlucky scenarios there. I think Monster played that incredibly well, getting the afterplant, but also, well, just the quick reactions. I think that whole round is basically quick reactions. I'm almost certain as well that Redgar only gets that kill because Nats is facing in the direction of the player that peeked. And because of that, either he showed up on the map or Nats, just before he died, went, he's behind you, and so he span around and killed him. It's just unlucky with the timing of that peak, of the direction that Nats was facing in. So an incredibly close round. And actually, on the other side of things, Ascend still have enough to buy. You might be looking at Monster with a Spectre, but he's reliant on the fact that if he can get into that Viper's Pit, well, there's a chance. But look at where Mech are.
Oh, yeah, they are taking the fight right to them. Monster now needs some help. Starzo's the one to come on in and provided a nice kill for them. They shut down the elbow push, but there's more aggression coming through. That's being spotted. And now, well, it's going to be very tough for good old Redgar to get out of here. They know exactly where he is. They're using snake bites to push him into the open and deal with him, putting Mech on the back foot.
Snake bite through, but they're going to bypass it. Viper's Pit thrown in. Nats with the spam. He catches the other player. A little bit unlucky, but that has actually dropped the spike. That's a lot of information. He's going to go around behind both players millimeters from each other. Can Chronicle catch Vac on the cross? That's the more important thing. Both playing around the edge, and he will, and the peek out from Monster again gives him a chance. Another clutch scenario in back-to-back rounds into the 1v1, and Chronicle's low as well. He might have just played this perfectly, wrapping back around. The newbie to this team has been fantastic all season, and you're seeing why here.
Monster's got to be one of the best additions to a VCT roster that we've had. I'm not even talking this season. Honestly, for a guy that came from, a lot of good words were going around about him, but that a lot of the time that doesn't mean anything at lower levels. As I said, when you come to the top, it's a different ball game. But Ascend did their job scouting this guy out. They've picked up one of my favorite players to watch, and it's a combination. It's not like, I don't think he's necessarily the best player in the world at anything, but he's just bloody fantastic at everything.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any weakness, whether it's aim, decision making, or even just the variety of different agents that he can actually play.
I've got your
Very, very good Sentinel. Well, now we're going to see the pace change. Straight in towards the site. Overdrive already activated, so this is just going to be an attempt to try and almost farm up some of these players, not really with anywhere near the same risk as the rest of his teammates. Bear in mind, the purchase right now on the other side of things is very, very poor. Chronicle will at least shut down Starzo, but he's done his job.
Yes, absolutely. Getting the space, getting the plant, making sure there's not a massive danger. I'm sure they would have wanted to deal with these players who have like your Bladestorm and such online, but well, he's got plenty of teammates to do that. Well, fewer by the second. Defo's already dropped one. Cloudburst down to fake that he's going all the way through, but he's dancing around, and Shados able to at least drop one, gives his teammate a chance, and if nothing else, it was a good attempt, but an Ascend round.
I think, again, something that will just impress me so much about Ascend is, so far, in both maps, they lost the first pistol, lost the second round, which is arguably worse in the second half of the last map, and then I think they lost both pistols here as well. Like, they are a team that basically seems to fight from behind every single time, and it just shows how good they are in their buy rounds. Like, they are fantastic when it comes to the utility, the executions, and even just individual aim. Like, they're off the charts in terms of this roster. Now we're going to see the Viper's Pit popped very early on. Chronicle also utilizing his tour de force. It's going to be a tough round for Ascend to find space, but ultimately there has to be a gap somewhere.
And they've got plenty of time to find it. I think that Viper's Pit, it allows you to just cover everything else, have that site secure, and it's whether you want to try to throw all of your utility at the Viper. I think if you have a Sova, you see a lot of teams move towards it and attempt that, but the comp that Ascend are running, I think they can still do that, right? They've got their Trailblazer, they've got flashes to try and maybe catch how close the player is, really approximate their position. You've got your Seekers as well to go on in, a Haunt to try and reveal.
They've got Nightfall. I feel like that's probably
Nightfall
one of the best
counters
you could possibly have to force him back. They just want some other space elsewhere. Redgar's not pretty, but he gets the job done.
There it is,
Nightfall has been used. Straight away, they're going to leave Nat stuck in a corner. And actually, I thought Starzo got the kill. Eventually, he will be isolated, but now the spikes drop with 30 seconds.
Right on top as well. Look at that, served up on a platter for Chronicle to hold with the operator. Is Defo covering his close push? All he worries about is the top, but Monster wins it. Of course he does. He's fallen though, and that spike needs to be picked up and brought over. Shados just needs to survive. He knows time is on his side, at least he thought. I thought it was. He goes out and catches back on the way to site and wins the round. Anyways, Mech, and another close victory, but a victory nonetheless. Their defensive side still one round behind. And I thought Ascend might be going for an eco here. Yeah, okay. It looks like they've decided 3 rifles and not quite enough. They're going to go for a mixed buy. Keep money for the next.
Yeah, I think that definitely one of the real positives of playing that Fade versus a Viper is just that ult. Like, it's such a fantastic counter. I wouldn't even be surprised in the future if a Viper's Pit goes down. You almost have that counter exactly the same way you do with a Hunter's Fury in a lockdown. Because it's almost just like, you know exactly where the player is, you can blind them, stun them, and leave them half HP. It's as good as it gets.
Here comes the drone on the other side to try grab information. Spam good for Chronicle. He's covered out Redgar, allowed him to get into a slightly wider position, but he's been spotted and now swung on. Shock dart down. It might be his final gesture. His teammate gonna swing around the back though to try and trade out. Nats doing more than just trying though. He's taking a triple and leaving this round well and truly into Mech's hands. Again, site control, spike control. They've spotted the final player.
Toxins going up.
If there was anyone, especially within this match so far, even looking at last week's performance, I feel like Monster's the man you rely on. So good at isolating Jules, so good at utilizing any utility he has, and although there's definitely some limitations there, they've got to be careful. Spotting him, though, that's going to make things quite a bit easier. Even still, though, now every single player has at least taken a little bit of damage on the other side. Of course, they've healed up Nats, but he would still be one bullet away from falling. They're just not giving him anything. Sheer patience out from the side of Mech, and, well, he does well to attempt to isolate the duel, but Nats is more than prepared.
At the start of this game, I think they probably do give him a little bit of space. You know, they probably do push in and give away a couple of duels, but Ascend have shown they're not here to play around. They're losing pistol rounds and still making these games hyper competitive. And we were at 10-9 right there. That's exactly the kind of clutch that Ascend would win, that Monster would win.
Yeah.
And that Mech would lose to give them a third map and end up having this series a lot more uncomfortable for them than I'm sure they want. I'm glad that we saw them stick together and play that in a much tighter way. Still plenty more rounds on offer. 10-10. Both teams on a bye. Both teams having one ulti to play with. But it's CNED, Operator in hand, Tour de Force back pocket, mid-peak for Chronicle, though, is what finds the opening. And I thought we were about to see the chamber battle, but a little preemptive peek from Starzo made sure that didn't happen.
And actually, Shados is going to reaggress. He's been superb today. As said, like in some of the losses they had, I feel like him being absent was a huge difference maker. Same for Chronicle, but both players have performed fantastically well in the matches so far. And while you can see Chronicle just being that little bit cheekier around the aggressive angle, back as well. Now he could throw out a Prowler. It seems like he's just going to push it, not expecting anybody to still be this close. And again, it's the multi-frag machine! Shados with a triple to completely shut the round.
Very light on mid. This time around over on Mech, they're looking again for this aggression inside a cave. Yep, going up, taking the fights. Players have been spotted though. They've been stunned as well. Here comes the big peek, and it's not going Ascend's way until Monster comes in with a judge. Attack side. Get the hell out of here. You can play that inside his Viper's pit now. But he's going to walk out rifle in hand with his teammates as they go towards the site. They look to secure it and get that plant on through. Tom, they have the advantage.
He just marshaled him. He just marshaled him through the Viper's pit. That is grotesque. And now the Viper on the other side has to try and do the same. It is left onto Nats. He's going to hear the spike being planted. He might actually be able to even know exactly. Yeah, you can see the ring of exactly where it's been placed. Just going to try and go through the other side, but Zeke denies. A ridiculous round from Ascend. Marshall through smoke, 2 kills on a judge, and while Mech, as said, I feel like their ideas of how to deny that ultimate are fantastic. Unfortunately, you're playing into Ascend, and their reaction was even better. That's ridiculous.
Not even that. It's the fact that you have a judge by. That's why I'm so happy they called the pause. I guess realizing that, hey, if we can manage to get to site, get a plant on, and I'm the one planting, Viper's pit, judge. You know, chances of winning the round got a times 100 from the eco they started out on, but the situation it ended up being so useful in what is going on. 2 frags as quick as can be, aggression down on A main and on mid. That finds them 2 frags, and Ascend, in literally the blink of an eye, are left in the dust. After a phenomenal previous round, Tom, they again need a clutch to even have a chance.
Yeah, I feel like so many of these aggressive rounds have just been...
Here's the mid peak.
50-50. And actually, Chronicle, it looked like he had an opportunity here. This could be a problem. Seeker's going to give away Nats. Redgar's position also going to be noted, trying desperately to spam through. Will eventually break that Seeker, and Defo's on that rotation already, but look at Zeke. He's so well primed to just cause them issues. It looked free, but somehow Defo survived at least a little longer. Zeke needs to shut out this kill, but with the weapon in hand, it's not going to go well. And now it's left on to Shados, but again, this man is clutch as hell.
He's got a great position too. Zeke has no idea where he is. Super low in HP. Steps were heard moments ago. The win conditions were there, and they were already ticked for Shados. That is 12-11 as Max steam on into the lead and look to take this here and now. I mean, it has been a close game all the way along, Tom, and we're going to end it round number 24 with Ascend full buying up. They've got all the rifles, well, 4 rifles, and some finger guns on Starzo to work with. It's still a strong round from them, but not where they want to be making their final stand to push to OT.
I don't know. Sometimes I genuinely believe in Ascend more when they have a buy like this. After what we've seen throughout this match, it can be so difficult to play against Defo. He's had his moments on this defense, but definitely been quieter than what we saw in that first half. CNED taking so much space already, and straight up Nightfall is going to catch some of the players at least, giving that information over. The finger guns are doing their job, Mitch, as already they've got that double opener into the site, and there is nothing that could be done by Mech to deny this plant.
It's just the sheer pace of Starzo coming at you with the support of Util in the background. Missed shot on the cross. Wallbang connect? I think I might have connected. Either way, Vac and Zeke are super low. There's a chance. Looks like Ascend might have done enough here. Another hero needed to step up on Mech. They're starting to close in on the site. Starzo spotted, taken down. Good trade, though. 2-1. As a 2v3 comes into play. Op shot rings out, no connection. Time on their side, and now the kills. Well, they come flooding in. Ascend have bought themselves an overtime on Mech's map pick of Breeze. It's not over yet, Tom. It's just getting started.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Especially with the news that my favorite map is being taken out of the pool. The fact that it is the 3rd in this series, I am desperate to get there. So
one last hurrah.
I would not normally nice and impartial, you know, nice and, unless it's NA versus EU, but nice and impartial. But yeah, I desperately want to get towards that 3rd and final map. And well, 12-12, a banger of a series, fighting tooth and nail, opener seemingly meaning nothing as either team can fight back into contention. And
judges players, grabs his ult. Then they start marshaling players through the ult. Like, it's just been wild. An OT kicking off here. Oh, CNED's gone through the wall.
And bear in mind, he also doesn't have any shields to play with behind this. So this has a huge risk alongside it, but he's managed to find the opener. Defo down already, but they don't seem to be slowing down. Door closed within their face, and CNED's found another. Already making this round look like it's dead to right to slide through. Oh, it's not pretty. He's stunned up, so can only fire the isolated bullets, and now Redgar's the last man standing. A monster is not giving him the time of day. 13-12 in favor of Ascend. A chance to take things to split. And now, well, they move over onto that attack to try and find themselves another round.
I mean, Tom, I'm not sure how you feel about that one, but the pace, completely different. I mean, it almost felt like we were watching the Ascend attack with the way Mac are going into that site. They're trying to take the space. It felt like they lose their opening duel, and they decide, no, that's our space taker gone. We need to take space off the back of it. Keep pushing forward. Make this worthwhile. Make sure he didn't die for nothing. But in the end, he did.
Oh, it's such a beautiful combo. The same slide, the flash in combination with it from Zeke. That is one of the... it's so slick watching this team play with some of those little sort of tricks that they're throwing in to find those opening picks. Now with Chronicle gone, the top fragger so far for Mech, someone who has been phenomenal on this map for a long time, well, he's going to rely on his teammates to bring it back.
Here comes the wall. The information there for Defo. With an operator, there's just not a whole lot you can do. Spamming. That's what takes up his time for now. I see Starzo creeping his way on in, and no one's watching him right now. I think in spawn, though, Nats has this jump up spotted, and he's going to get a kill for his trouble. Shados as well answers up onto CNED. This isn't over yet. Mech don't want to let this one go. Flash on backside, catches Monster. Back needs to try and grab something to help his buddy out. It's an operator in his hands now on a good shot. One found. Oh, unfortunately, that's all that they're going to get. We're going to another OT.
Yeah, no, a fantastic retake. Like, you have to bear in mind, that was a 4v5 after an opening onto Chronicle, and I guess when you end out the round, it doesn't really feel like that. They made things look very easy. They were very much expecting a lot of the aggressive pushes to come
up and back him up on that. But the Shados has his rifle out, or a flash, I think, most likely. Chronicle to play this angle, and there you go. The two of them swing in. Defo and Chronicle, good for the frag. And they even force the TP out of CNET, so they lose a lot of space. Plus, a player that's been a huge thorn in the side for Mech so far. I mean, Starzo's been able to really catch them off with those stuns, with some of those pacey takes, and now that's no longer a factor they have to consider at all.
Okay, this is...
They're watching it.
Yeah, they are watching for it, but this could be such a huge 1v1. No matter which player goes down, it's going to be awkward for either side. Now, I will say we saw this battle earlier in the pistol, and maybe there's a little bit more hesitation, but even just the depth of map control that they're able to take, it does, however, almost sell a bit of a false positive. And look at this screen. Definitely more of an intriguing one. That kill is big, though, because now they have to try and clear some of the angles back into cave, which is not going to be easy to do.
Monster through the halls. There's the reward. He's found one. They know where he is, though. So that is what it comes down to. The door closed and spike planted. Mech get to reset. Players coming in from above. The operator spotted, taken down, and Nat still hasn't revealed his position just yet. They know there's an operator far back. You also know you're against Nats, though, so you got to be ever vigilant, ever cautious, and now they know where he is, the sound, what they have to go off, the snake bite. Back is in a lot of danger, but he swung at the right time, out and around the corner, dodging the opposite he goes, but not ready. Monster coming behind, snake bite out, but he needs to get on that spike. He has his ult to play with an extra snake bite. Defo's going up on top. Now making his way around. The time is crucial. He spots it's clear, and he even gets the quick scope onto him. That was so fast. Interesting trap. Covering the push all the way around through the back.
I think they're expecting some aggression on the other side. I think after the last couple of rounds, what we sort of saw it on the defense was where Mech really got aggressive and really tried to take the fights. Chronicle, there's a very high chance he gets isolated here. He's going to go running around, and Starzo has a gap. Defo again with the operator is given the opener, but it's an afterplant for Ascend.
Yeah, I just wonder about... I'm staring at that trap almost the whole time. Like, why there instead of any other place? But fair enough. That's interesting. I wonder if they're reading into something that they've seen. Either way, Mech not going near the spawn. They're making their way into the B site. Down through the elbow. Flash in main. Sees nobody. They've got good control. They'll look to take the site now. Snake bite through. Good reveal as well. That no, it's landed on 2 targets, but Starzo still to be dealt with. He buys his teammates some times as they reposition. And, well, now they're safe as can be. Shados left to do it all, and he will not get it done this time. Another overtime to be played here on Breeze. Mech not quite able to close it out this time.
Sides.
Yeah, I feel like we're almost just watching teams take different gambles. We saw the aggressive B stance that Ascend had in their defensive half, and then the more passive one that came in on the other side. But I feel like the more passive one actually plays further into the hands of Ascend because they have such strong executions right now. Like, we've seen it off the back of Starzo in his utility. He'll take the space, and he even gets the opener onto Chronicle. And that's the thing. I feel like a lot of players right now try to work out a way to play around Starzo's utility, and he just seems to do it better.
Strange to see Ascend with literally nobody around mid. I mean, this is a team that's been getting in Mech's face quite a bit, and now they're moving this into a much more passive play. Mech, in the same regard, moving up through elbow, slowly working this mid control. So you get this really slow early round as they try to pick each other off, and it's the operators that end up in a tussle. CNED coming out convincingly on top.
Again, now this becomes a lot tougher. They've been very reliant, as always, on Defo to either take the space or to find them the opening pick. Shados actually switching up onto the operator, just trying to find somebody to face off against, but the shot will be heard. The only real worry right now is sort of what you mentioned. I'm just looking at Nat slowly making his way up through mid. This is something they have to be aware of. But ultimately, he's managed to garner an awful lot of space.
30 seconds.
Here they go on the way in. Vac already going to be dropped as Nats falls. They lose their wall now on the way through. Opens up the line of sight. CNED trying to grab himself a shot with the operator. He's heard reloading and stepping up to the wall. That's a little bit of info to play with. They know about the player behind him, but they have absolutely no idea where Zeke can be. The trap watching the back, though, and this late flank out from Redgar might get them a ton of value. Jados up close, good for the kill. There's Redgar's flank completed, and Zeke coming through B main doesn't realize that they have now cleared every other angle, and they're just staring at him as he completes his flank at long last. 15-14. Mech secure another chance to close this series without a third map being played.
It really does seem right now like the first kill of the round is almost irrelevant. Like, both teams have done so well of almost playing back in. And I think a lot of it might just be how shaky everything seems to become. It's almost like, okay, we got ourselves into a position where we have the advantage. I don't want to overface. I don't want to over-aggress. And you see it in that round. They give up so much map control. Now, it was definitely something that they knew about. The problem is then you have that execution where you're so wary about mid because you've given it up that, well, they make it through in another spot.
Very cautious by Ascend. Starzo, the furthest man back. Not too often you'll see that. But I think the time will come where he's blitzing forward to take that space. For now, though, they just haven't spotted anyone. You can see, look at that, our Seeker, right? Even goes into cave. It goes way down. They're clearing it out. They're worried, like, have these guys pushed up? Mech have been doing that. They've been making some aggressive plays. They've been catching Ascend on the back foot at times. If not Ascend, have been pumping the gas, and I guess Mech have tried to react. At this point, though, Ascend are getting nothing. None of the play that they were fearing Mech would make is coming through, and so with 50 seconds left, they've got to take some space. They've got to make their own play, and that might not work out how they think. Nats is in an unusual position for an OT, but they've spotted him. Now things get dangerous. Apparently not.
Dinked up Starzo through the wall. Oh! Starzo tries to bait the steps, but he's found that kill as well. Defo, he's been noted. His position given up, but it's Monster to actually refrag. Even still, though, he needs a whole lot more if they're going to turn this around. But suddenly, a couple of kills go in their direction. A plant being baited in, but Chronicle's landed the shots. Once again, it's on to this man. Defo whiffs, but Chronicle will not. It is Mech to take themselves the victory.